It wants me to do it like this. It says now orientation is locked. Come, Tristan. It says orientation is locked. Woo!
Did you hear that?
Yeah, that was fire.
Woo!
If Kel's watching, there we go. No.
It says it's live again.
It is like okay. I'm
It
just
is
gonna do
live.
it like this.
You're just gonna hold
I'm
it.
just gonna. No, this.
Yo.
I'm just gonna do this like TikTok. I'm not going to be stressing myself. Please, now you. No, but then you guys have to be close to each other. That's the problem.
We always close. That's how we work, man.
There's no freedom when this is like this. Yes.
Now we're watching the floor. Kel's watching this listening to us.
As in person.
Yes, Katie. And she's gonna be looking like, what is going on here?
Because we're just watching a fight for the phone.
Hey, yeah.
Tough time never lasts.
Right.
As the true South African once said, tough time never lasts. What? And now, isn't it
Now
gonna
we
fall
go to
out?
the problem. Okay, this is perfect.
Okay. Oh, that was a bit of a struggle, don't you think, Ruth? Oh, I have a new bangle.
Do you see yourselves?
Yeah.
He hasn't clicked on anything because he's. It's there.
I'm just making sure it's loaded. Just breathe.
Nah, you didn't know what you were
I don't
doing.
know what I was doing. Oh, my lord.
Oh, jeez.
Better than a speaker volume. I was going to have background noises here.
Quickly.
So what do you need to move a little bit?
You need to come in a bit, broski.
I'm in.
There we go. There we go. Looks like it shows, according to the video that I can see.
It's not the best.
It's not the best in the... Yeah, but
It's not the worst. Rudy's got a dinosaur bracelet on, so he's ready.
my Dino.
You see now it cuts you guys.
That's fine.
It's okay. It's not a problem.
So basically, we're going to start today. Hello, everyone. We are live on Friday, and it has been probably the most frustrating 25, 30
a little
minutes
bit longer than that.
trying to get the setup correct without Tatsia. So we've actually found out that we actually do need him.
Yeah, his phone's temperamental without him, yeah.
Jeez. So basically, we were trying to connect. So we got the camera connected to some of the cables that the cables didn't want to connect, and then the camera was sending us that the orientation was wrong.
Despite us setting it to the correct orientation.
Correct. So we're very confused. But we're live now. We finally got it sorted out
Give me your phone.
somewhat. No, just leave it. Just yeah, it's we're happy to be on a Friday. First and foremost, happy Women's Day. Happy Women's month of August, dedicated to all those lovely ladies, moms, grannies, daughters, all of you. We appreciate you. We love you. This is the Man Podcast, but you know, it is for everyone, and we really want to wish you guys a happy month and a happy day. I hope you guys are relaxing. In South Africa, we've got a public holiday today, which is amazing.
Which is why we're live now.
Which is why we're live now. Normally,
Otherwise, we'd be at
work.
school.
Yeah. A weird-ish topic, and I actually wanted you to guess why this topic came up.
I wonder why.
Okay, so the topic was basically making a decision as a man in a household and how it affects the rest of the household. And if something has to come up in your life and you feel already it's life-changing, but as a man, and it's happened to me many times, I'm sure it's happened to you, you don't just think about yourself and how it affects you. So, I mean, those the things that can happen. I mean, we're talking about immigration, we're talking about new job opportunities, we're talking about a calling on your life, we're talking about relocation.
Yeah.
All those things can come into your life, and they can come up whether it is forced, unforced, wanted, not wanted. You're going to be scared. So I just wanted to talk about that because I know I speak for myself, and I know I speak for a lot of men, it is an extremely daunting thing to go through one of those decisions. I hate it. Something as simple as going, like, at the end of the year, we're going on holiday together.
Yeah.
It sounds so silly, but you're going, you want it to be good for Dakota, for the people going with us. Where we're staying, how we're getting there. Something simple like that. I mean, it's not, immigrating or anything, but it's tough.
To leave it on.
Yeah, I just, I want to know, have you gone through any of those decisions recently? Are you going through one right now? Um, because it's a topic that's been on my heart this week.
Hi, Sandy. So thanks for tuning. You can see the commented. But yeah, no. So really, thanks for letting me talk so much as we started this live. It was great. I mean, I love the amount I'm involved.
I had to make sure I introduced it because this topic is actually.
I wonder why this topic's here.
We'll get there.
I'm not going to talk much about it because it's going to create issues that spiral upon spiraling. However, I think quite often you feel that way, and I think often as men we do it to ourselves. Like, at times a decision is just about you, but we don't ever take any decision as it's just about us. Like, even if we want to go and buy a pair of shoes that we know we can afford, you still go, oh, bro.
How's that?
And
how's it gonna fit?
Yeah, how's it gonna?
I could have used that.
Yes, for Wimpy.
$2,000 to go. Yeah.
5 times because your daughter likes Wimpy.
For sure.
And often we do those type of things. So it's so difficult, and we kind of make every decision difficult for ourselves with that type of thinking. I think, yeah, I mean, I've always been like that, even in high school and whatever, thinking about my mom.
Yeah. For sure.
The decision wasn't based on what I really wanted to do. It was more based on what makes things easier for my mom. So yeah, it's difficult. And yourself, how do you kind of go about it?
I think once you've had a child,
I know, bro.
It becomes
16.
It becomes worse in the sense that it's not just Kaylee.
Yeah.
It's Kaylee and Dakota. And God forbid something had to happen to me when it was just Kales and I know she'd be okay. Yes, she'd be upset, she'd mourn, something had to happen, but she would move on. You would hope that she would move on and she would find someone and she'd be okay. But when you have a child, it adds a whole different dimension because that's your child. They are completely dependent on you. So that decision that you make becomes so much more difficult because you're going...
Becomes poignant.
Yeah, sure. And what happens with it is you go, any decision I make, my first and foremost is going, how's it going to affect Dakota? After I've either reasoned with that, gone, okay, it can work for her, then I'll go to the next stage and going, okay, how's it going to work for Kales? Then if it passes that, it goes, okay, how's it going to affect me? So it's almost like there's this pyramid of importance.
Hierarchy of needs,
correct.
of decision making.
We should actually make something like that. What was that pyramid thing that we learned in school?
Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Yeah, that thing. I hated it. I felt all my needs were important.
Social needs are your number one, clearly.
Right now, I hate social media because that was tough to get.
Not social media, social needs.
No, I hate social media. That was tough.
I've never been
fighting us.
Everything. We even gave up on streaming on.
Our beautiful editor Pumza was telling us that this thing is trash.
She said this is the last one. It's finishing up now.
And Tats, when you watch this, bro, she was going, he doesn't show me how to do it properly.
He just does it.
And then so yeah.
Tats. Not good enough, brother.
Back to the point. No, like for me, it literally goes. I will think, how's it going to affect Dakota? How's it going to affect Kales? And then I'll decide how's it going to affect me, and then is it a good decision for us as a family? And the most recent one that I've had, like the most recent sort of decision that I've had to make in terms of something like that, and it's not so recent, but it was, we were going to make the decision to move into a much bigger house as a family, bringing my mom, my dad, and then the 3 of us into the house. Because obviously, Kels and I had moved out, like we normally do. You get married, you get your own place and whatnot. And we did that. And then Kota was born. But
how's it, Raven? Thanks for tuning in.
Hello,
Raven tuned in.
Looking good. It's the first compliment he's ever paid me.
Right, I think same.
But, like, when we moved in, or before moving in, there were so many decisions happening.
Yeah.
I could see my dad was going through the same thing. He's going, is this going to work? Is the dynamic of that decision going to work, So, yeah, that was my most recent one. And we weighed up the pros and cons. We chatted about it. And that was the biggest thing, is that we came together all knowing that this was a big decision that we all had to make.
Yeah.
Because, it's 2 families, basically. Yes, we're all family, but coming together to live together in one space. And we all had the same sort of goal, was providing life and lifestyle for Dakota.
Mm.
And I think having that main goal and that main feature in your life, saying that is why we're doing it, made it a lot easier. And all the other sort of questionable things, and you go, are we going to handle this? Is the dynamic going to be too tough or whatever it is? Is going to be altercations? Is there going to be, some uncomfortability in certain situations in the house? And it wasn't. And that was the most recent one I went through. And like I said, it was an absolute blessing. I'm glad we're brave enough to do it, because like I said, our household is incredibly happy.
Yeah, no, it is. I mean, I go there quite often. Besides you and your dad, always.
Yeah, but that's
always,
banter.
but it's banter, but
It's
it's always you two going at each other. But it is funny because Steve is you as an old man. He is.
He's not.
He is. If he's watching, I hope he's watching.
He's
so
not.
he
He's
can see.
working.
Okay. I hope your mom's watching because she agrees.
She's possibly watching. I know Kaylee's watching.
I know your mom agrees. You guys are the same, just on different stuff. But no, I don't have many of those type of decisions. I mean, I'm still rather young in terms of what I've had to do, what I've had to decide on, stuff like that. But I mean, generally, you make a decision, even if it was like going to Cooper for a job or where I went before or leaving or whatever it is. It's always kind of more based on considering my mom's single mom by herself. Does it allow her to still be like whatever?
Yeah.
Like now that she's used to me being at home, it's more like, do I think she's in place? Like she's good if I'm not there? All those type of things.
But you just have that deep care factor, making sure that she's okay, making sure that she's, living the same lifestyle, the happy lifestyle she wants to live, and with a decision that you make is not going to change that for her. Yeah. Some of the other, questions that come up, and like you said, I mean, you are a little bit younger than me, not much younger than me, but...
Well, in terms of what I've needed to do in life, I'm younger. Not even
what
age.
I'm saying is it doesn't have to be maybe a life decision that has to happen now. This conversation is also the thought process behind it can also impact just general direction, I think, for everyone. Is, like I said, what works for me is creating sort of that we spoke about. Of
like
going,
a tier list.
The tiers, going, what is the most important? How does it affect that? And then work its way down to the less important things. So I think with any decision or, area of your life that you're going, I want to do this, I want to change that, I've got an idea to go into this, or you want to start a new hobby, or you want to have a second job, or like exactly us with the podcast. I wish that it was our only source of income, and I wish it was our only job that we had to do, because I genuinely love coming in here, and it's the most amazing time here. But it's not yet.
100%.
It will be that, I know, and I believe in my heart that it eventually will be so big that we're going to carry on with that. But at the same time, we've got to go through certain steps to get there. And like that decision that you make and that sort of path that you take, you just got to sort of take a slight step back, go weigh up the pros and cons, what is it important, who's it affecting, and put your best foot forward.
And I mean, dude, at the end of the day, like, I think the biggest thing is that we tend to feel the burden of said decision, whether the consequences are good or bad. Very often it is, you couldn't do this or you whatever. So even going on to, I saw Raven commented there about economic challenges and stuff. So if you decided and economic challenges and families have to come together, oftentimes if it doesn't work out, it always is put back on men. And that's something that people think about before they make these type of decisions, and it's difficult. And, like you said, it's going through that tier list. Am I even able to get through this by myself to betterment of others? Yes or no?
Yeah.
And if not, then it's important to realize that and actually take help if it's there.
Yeah. And I think another big thing is also just being able to, we've got this really bad sense of pride as males, especially amongst each other, is 90% of the time I won't have any idea that you're going through this life decision, or because a man must be brave, must know exactly what he's doing, he must know where he's going, he must have his whole life sorted out. That's the stigma around the world. You've got to know exactly what you're doing, how you're doing it, why you're doing it. And the reality is we're scared. We're honestly
Yeah.
scared to make the decision because we don't want to,
Do the wrong thing.
and you don't want to be a failure.
Yeah.
And it might not be you failed the entire task, or failed the decision that you're making, but you see
Disappointment
yourself,
is failure.
Exactly. And also, seeing your own failure is so much worse
Then seeing
than
someone else's.
else's.
Oh.
And also, like, you also, I think people in your sort of circle, when you want them to look at you, always look up at you. In essence, you want to be the person on the stage in the spotlight because it's a good feeling. Everyone wants to know that they've done well. But when you've maybe failed and they've seen it and stuff, you don't feel like you're on that. I think maybe the spotlight is just zoomed in on your face and your emotions, but it's not where you want to be.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
And it's not easy. So anyone that's going through those sort of decisions, or they feel like they're heading in that sort of direction of immigration, a new relationship, scared of a new relationship, leaving a relationship, a new job opportunity, a new hobby, whatever it is, the only sort of advice I can give you, and this is not coming from Tristan, the only advice I can give you is, at the end of the day, you're going to have to make a decision on it. And prolonging that decision is only going to make it tougher for you mentally. You're only going to get yourself you're going to question more things about that decision. I'm not saying be hasty and just jump at the first decision. I'm saying take a slight step back, maybe even write it down. I'm a person that writes everything down. I'll write it down. What is the goal? What is the decision I need to make? What are the pros? What are the cons? Who does it affect? And once I've got that and go, okay, the most logical decision is normally the one I'll go with.
Yeah, same.
And I don't know if that's a male thing that we go through. We are logical beings.
Which one makes the most sense in terms of like tangible things that are going to happen?
Correct.
That's the one that we choose. But so I agree with you. Where I'm slightly different is I don't write things down. I'm lazy. Okay, so I mentally write things down. I think it's very often you need to understand your situation. If you're a single man and you live by yourself and all these type of things, your decision rests with you. Because what's happening is, unless you're moving overseas, whatever, but it's just say relationship-wise, the decision rests on you. Because you're in a situation where you're either going to you can't sit there and think about someone else if you're in a position where you're not happy. So there, your tier list is your happiness has to be number one, because you're not married, you're not whatever it is. You're at a point where you live alone and your number one is you. If you don't look after yourself, you're not going to be in a good place to look after others in a couple of years. So that's your number one. But then if you have a family, your number one is your family.
Yeah. Agreed.
Or your
100%.
daughter,
Yeah,
or
100%.
whoever it is. And then your number two is your wife. And family is family, then you. And it's not that you are not important.
No.
But generally, if you're in a good marriage and have a good family, their happiness will lead to your happiness. It won't be very often where what is good for them is bad for you.
Correct. No, 100%. Because
So
it's 100% true. If Dakota's happy and Kaylee's happy,
then
I'm happy.
Yeah.
I don't care. Anything else could be happening in my life. I don't care.
And then you're good.
I'm good. Yeah.
So I think it's important that we understand generally as males that we need to take situation by situation. My situation is slightly different to your situation.
100%. Yeah.
Well, not slightly, but it's different to your situation. Your situation different to Tat's situation. Everyone's situation is different. But it's important that we understand where we are in life and where we're placing things so that we're not devaluing ourselves, number one, or giving ourselves the cold shoulder in terms of making decisions for other people when there is no need to, when you are your own number one at that time.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
No, it does. And I know, like, it's a lot easier as a male to disappoint yourself than to disappoint others. You've come to terms with that. I mean, you're growing up doing certain things. I mean, you'd rather look. I remember growing up and going into high school. Everything was about how good you look, wearing the best clothes, and who's got the prettiest girl on the arm, or whatever it is. That's the reality.
Yeah.
And
true.
you'd rather be disappointed in yourself. You might go look in the mirror and be like, I hate this jersey, I hate these shoes, whatever.
But you'd wear it.
But you'll wear it because it's the fashion trend.
Yeah.
You'll convince yourself that it's cool, so this gives me status.
Exactly.
And it goes back to status of exactly when a human is all about that status. There's the hierarchy.
Yeah, the
of
place in
status.
society.
Yeah, and as a male in a household, you feel your status has to be this big, bold, strong man that makes no wrong decisions. Each decision is the best decision, and sometimes we're wrong. I mean, that's also.
Oftentimes we're wrong.
I mean, I can tell you now, there's been decisions that we've made in the past. Mine, I can be quite honest with you. The last car I bought was a hasty decision. I know it was. I just was like, I wanted a new car.
The most recent call.
The Opel. So like it was a hasty decision. I was like, I wanted a bigger car. You know, Dakota's coming into the world. Daddy has to have a bigger car. You know, it has. You know, and it didn't need to happen.
Yeah.
But I was hasty and went into it and bought a car that I had no idea would depreciate the way that it did. But 3.5 years later, I had to take the big
hit.
boy medicine, take the hit, and you know. But now I've got myself back. But it was a small decision I made, a hasty decision then, which impacted me now.
I mean, again,
and it's gonna happen. Life happens.
You're
Those decisions are going to come about in your life, and you just got to sort of, you know, roll with the punches.
the thing is as well, if you look at it, you can take any decision and take it as the wrong one.
Yeah.
So there was, why can't I remember the term now? Anyway, in economics, they talk about something. It's where you don't, it's what you've lost by making a decision. I forgot what the term is. It's in economics. I've completely forgot it. It's a mind blanks. But if you decide to do what you did, got a car, you lost the potential of whatever you didn't choose, right? Every decision has that. Every decision is the wrong decision when you look at that potential that you lost.
Yeah.
So that's why I said we often make the wrong decision. However, it's the decision we make, and we need to live with that. So being happy with your decisions in terms of, you know what, Rudy that time did what he thought was best. Rudy at that time didn't go, I really don't need a car. Let me buy a car. That wasn't your thought process.
No.
If it was, Kelly probably would have hit you.
No, for sure.
Right? But not actually, but you know, it's a joke. But regardless, it's you make a decision based on what you know at the time and what you believe is the best option to do. And the thing is, we need to always understand that if we look at it, that we could have done this, should have done this, we're never going to be happy.
No.
We're never going to gain that pursuit of happiness. We need to understand that we need to work with it and do what we can to make the best of it. Because at that moment, you cannot change it. But you can change future you.
100%. And, you know, there's a lot in what you just said. No, Raven,
Activate Windows.
you just said
No,
is
activate Windows.
So, you know, there's a lot of power in what you said in terms of that whatever decision is made, regardless of how you feel about that decision, someone else might see that decision as a poor decision. But what we've got to do is go, it's our decision that's being made.
And it's your life.
It is our circle that is being affected. And yes, no one wants to negatively affect anyone. You don't want to negatively affect you. You don't want any.
Then you've made a wrong decision.
Then you've made a wrong decision. But regardless of what you said, regardless of what you feel, your decision's been set. You going with it. You're putting your best foot forward. You're being brave. You're saying, this is my decision. And you've got the honest hope and feel in your heart that says, I've done this for the sole betterment of everyone in my circle.
Including you.
Including me. I've taken as many factors into account that it makes
that you could understand and know.
Yes, and it makes it better. Yes, it'd be very sad if it negatively affects someone else. But at the same time, you would then hope that that person makes a decision that it will better them from their position.
Exactly.
You can't make everyone happy.
No, you're
never going to.
Is the juice worth the squeeze? Again, it's like saying, so is the decision worth it at the end of the day?
Yeah.
And again, you're going to look at everything, and as long as you are honest with yourself, because a lot of the time what you'll end up happening is you'll find that what's always 100% best for you probably won't be best for everyone else.
Yeah, agreed.
But just because it's best for everyone else doesn't mean it's not good for you. Every decision you make, everywhere it takes you, the world, like I've said before, I believe in the holistic nature of the world. Everything is connected. If I'm doing what's best for you, you're going to do something that's best for me, and it's going to even out. If I do what's best for me, I've slighted you. Whether or not you know about it, you don't know. But I've slighted you by deciding that it's only for me, it's not for you. And that's going to come back somehow at me at some point, whether through consequences, through someone else, whatever it is. If you're making the best decision for everyone, even if it's best for you and slightly good for them, but not great, that's fine if that's the best decision that you found. If it's the other way around, same thing. At the end of the day, it will come back around. And that idea that you did it with the good intent and sound of thought and of mind, surely then at that point, you will make the right decision more often than not.
Yeah, and to add what you just said, you look at the second part of the heading of this podcast. It says how to lead your household through major life decisions. The key word there is lead. So regardless of the decision made, you've got to make the decision.
And you got to live with it.
And you got to live with it. You got to lead by example and know that, yes, like you said, you might have slighted me.
Got to drink your juice.
But yeah, you've got to say, I'm going to be the leader. I'm going to be brave. I'm going to put my foot forward. I've made this decision. I'm going to stick to it. And regardless of the outcomes, I've made this decision. I'm moving forward with it, come what may.
And you're going to make the best of this.
And also, that in a household, I speak personally with Kales. If I make a decision, we'll talk about it before the decision is made. I can't get decision out. If we're going to make a decision together, she will say, how's it going to affect us? Are we able to? Her first and foremost is, can we, if it's something financial, can we afford it? And we'll discuss it. Stop it. So she'll first say, is it going to affect us? And if she says, we can do it, we can go for it, she'll completely back me.
Yeah, 100%.
And it's good to have that. It's great to have that person in your corner saying, I back you to make that decision.
That's leadership.
I said decision right.
Oh, decision.
No, and it's good to have that. So at the end of it, any person, any man going through any sort of area in his life where he goes, I'm a bit lost, I've got this opportunity, I've got that opportunity, I might want to go to this
opportunity cost. That's what it's called.
And also,
opportunity cost, sorry.
A big thing with people our ages who have already now got into a career, there's always that thought in the back of your mind, have I studied the wrong thing? So I know a really relevant topic in where you might want to do something new is studying something different. And you've got to just weigh up those pros and cons and stick with the decision that you make to go forward.
100%. And like Ravens just said, as men, we must not be of the idea that we know everything. Correct. We need to consult those that the decision will impact. 100%. And that's part of that tier list that you're talking about, is that understanding that this decision will impact my wife, girlfriend, spouse, mother, father, uncle, fish. Okay? Outside of the fish. The fish can't do anything. Mushu can't do anything.
The lizard, yeah.
You decided to move Mushu. That's fine. But everyone else had to see Mushu there. So everyone else had to agree that Mushu can go there. Or you had to have known they would agree it. You understand? And no one would object to it. Because otherwise you'd have an unhappy home.
That decision...
Just based off moving. That was your wife.
No, that decision was sort of ask for forgiveness and permission.
Yeah, but that was...
That table the table...
The reason being was it wasn't going to fit.
It was never going to fit.
And Kaylee just bought the thing.
Yeah, she did. It was such a good deal, my love.
It was a great deal. No, but it was.
It is a good deal.
It was a great deal. And...
Not for my car.
Not for your finger.
My car.
Your finger.
She scratched my car. My brand new car.
Look there. Say it there.
And still hasn't fixed it. And you know what she did on the way back after they had left? I think she was giving me time to cool down. She brought me a 5-star chocolate. I'm like, and this makes it better. And what makes it worse, that same 5-star, Dakota had a big bite out of it. And then the paper's all ripped up. She still put it in my lunchbox for the next day.
I'm so good, Kel. Well done.
This is real.
I know. And how's your finger?
My finger's fine, thank you.
His finger also got sliced moving said cage into the house.
Stupid cage. That was a bad decision.
He loves it though. It wasn't a bad decision. He loves it.
Yeah, he does. But he's lazy now. Hibernating time.
Yeah.
Summer's coming though.
But yeah, so I think, again, leading is the main cause. And even from what Raven said, it leads into that. What is leading? People lead in very different ways. What is leadership? How do people perceive leadership? And you should know your family well enough to know what leadership is needed for them. Yeah. There are people who need stern leaders, who need almost dictator type people. There are people who thrive on that. And there's lots of different things where we need to just kind of understand the people around us, you know, and how we deal with that.
There's a question that says how to deal with entitled family members. Now that is a very, very, very tough question because
I have to deal with
can-
Rudy.
That's not nice. But to be honest with you, I can tell you from experience where I didn't necessarily go through it, but I saw someone go through it. So my dad's family, my father's side, they are extremely tough, extremely stern, extremely opinionated people. Not that it's a bad thing.
Type.
Exactly. You know, what they do, the way they do it is the right way.
That is
Any feeling they have, any opinion they have, any judgment they have is the only judgment. It's the only opinion. It's the only way. And anything other than that is wrong.
Okay. So
Okay.
it's like you.
Shut up. Okay.
There has to be jokes in at some point.
But all I can tell you from seeing the way that my dad dealt with it is you've got to, as your small circle, a person going through this sort of scenario with an entitled family in the backing is your direct family, your small circle, your wife, if it's your husband, if it's your child. That is your family first. You've got to realize how
Everything's for them at the end of the day.
people inside those walls, the people that are under your direct care are the ones you need to care for first and make that decision for first and be the leader for first.
Yeah.
What
Definitely.
affects outside that wall, if they have bad opinions about it, if they have bad judgment calls on it, that's their call, that's their judgment.
Yeah.
It doesn't affect the people in your, because let's say it's something like you saying, okay, I've got a great job opportunity to go overseas and whatever, and they're going, oh, but you're leaving the family. And you're going, yes, well, my family's struggling to make ends meet. We can't put food on the table. By me going, I know that my family for the next 12 months, it's a 12-month contract, is going to be financially taken care of. So at the end of the day, my focus point and the reason for my decision being taken is for those people in that house.
100%.
And you've got to then make the focus and, like Raven said, set boundaries and say, you know what, if that so-called family is entitled, okay, and they've got this judgment and whatever, are they acting like a family does? They are in theory blood relatives.
100%.
Family is someone that it supports, loves, cares, and wants you to grow.
So that actually ties into exactly what I was saying, where you've got to decide on your structure and how you look at things. So at the end of the day, if you're living or catering towards entitled people, you're not doing what's right for yourself, first of all. You're not doing what's right for anyone in your close circle, second of all. And if the people in your close circle are the entitled ones, it's time for you to have a look at how you deal with your circle,
100%.
unfortunately. Because
And if that's cutting out so-called family for the betterment of your family within your small circle, you have to do it because that is not family.
well, I mean, look at me, right?
Yeah.
And that's where I was going to get to. I have family. I don't have any family, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I have family on my mom's side still. There's
You have
family
me.
on my dad's side. No,
You have me.
just go.
So you can do it.
Yes, because I'm the jokester. You're the serious man. Don't touch me, weird rat. Anyway, so I have still family on my mom's side. I still have family on my dad's side. My mom's side gives very much that entitlement vibe, at least that I'm different or lesser than them. I haven't seen them since my grandmother passed away, and I won't see them until the next person passes away, and I'll only see them in my family. I can't be around people with negative energy towards me because I'm different, because I'm whatever. That isn't how it works. Like, I mean, there's also certain people that are my family that are still very close, even though I don't see them, like my uncle and his kids, all those type of things. And it sucks, but it's important to do. Your family is your circle.
Yeah, agreed.
Your relatives, sure, it matters, but it doesn't if it's affecting you and doing the wrong things to you.
I don't think it does. And I think, like, Raven says, is set boundaries. It really doesn't.
And avoid them.
It doesn't. It doesn't matter because if you matter to them, they would understand your situation and they wouldn't falter your decision. Because let's say they knew.
Yeah.
Let's say they knew there was safety risks in the house, or maybe leaving a relationship, or whatever it is. you've got to say, you're not looking out for my best interest.
Yeah.
And my best interest is my family. And if you can't see that, you're not seeing the best interest in them, so I need to push you out that circle.
But exactly, and that's where Raven actually got to where I was going, is why do people become entitled? So why do people become entitled? Because we allow the behaviors. We allow the behaviors and we let it fly. I allow you to come to my house and say whatever you want, do whatever you want, and I never give you any repercussions or consequences of that. We allow it as a family. If it's a family setting, we allow that. Like, and no disrespect to my mom. My mom allows them to disrespect us in the family. I won't, which is why I won't go.
Yeah,
because
100%.
I'll tell them. And guess what? I never hear from them. We never hear from them because we don't fit into what they want, and that's perfectly fine. I'm actually happy for that, because if we were to fit, we would be entitled because they don't want to change.
Yeah, they're sort of stuck in ways.
Exactly.
I think people that become entitled or would be seen as entitled are stuck in ways. They have no sort of, they live in this sort of
their own world, the bubble.
This dimension of going, everything is only this way. It can't be any other way. And if it is any other way, it's wrong.
And no one's ever called them out on it to a point where they've gone, okay, then you go and do it your way.
Yeah.
I'm leaving you to do it.
And you know what the thing is? Unfortunately, we're not going to change every single person's mind. But at the end of the day, we are looking out for the people that are in the situation of going, okay, I'm sitting here and like the questions have come up, you know, I've got an entitled family member that's
why I'm talking, not you.
Impacting, you know, my life decision, my my direction or whatever it is. And it is so it's a huge thing in our house. More to my dad's side, where literally, I mean, it started with my grandfather, my father's father. He was very, very one directional, where he would only go, the first son is the everything.
Yeah, and everyone else.
My dad was forgotten. My dad's the middle child. He was forgotten. You know, any achievements, and then it filtered down even further, where the firstborn's child didn't matter what any of his other children did. You know, it was, you know, how is his child doing? His child did this and this and this, and then my dad would be like, yeah, but Rudy did this, and then no comment. It was, oh, this guy got that. And I mean, you look at it on value. Some of the things that I did at the time, you're going, this person goes, okay, I've done this, and then maybe he's achieved sort of a Gauteng level. And then Rudy's hit like a national level.
Doesn't matter because
he's Gauteng.
He's Gauteng,
so I think that they're very stuck, and that is the ways that of literally the old days where you're the firstborn, you're the one that carries my legacy. Never mind my other son that's also here.
But the other Oak who's better at sports, better at everything. We want the stick, man.
Correct. Pumza says, as a black person, our parents usually emotional blackmail us by saying I raised you and I took you to school as if I asked you to be born. Okay, so I literally dealt with a child this week. A child came to me at school and told me about a similar situation where she had told me, no, you know, I'm upset with work and my dad's putting pressures on me and he wants me to study this, only this. Because in our family...
That's what you do.
That is what you do. And she's going, I have no interest
in that.
And she said, it's not even the interest. She said, I'm not academically strong in the subjects that it takes for me to achieve this.
Yeah.
So she said, regardless of what I do here, if I follow you, I'm going to fail because I can't get to that achievement. Secondly, I'm going to fail because I'm not going to be passionate about what I'm studying. So regardless... doomed if I do it this way or doomed if I do it that way. So I think at the end of the day, regardless of situation, blackmailing, like we said, blackmailing, entitlement, all those things that negatively affect, and it can be someone that is in our direct circle, we've got to take that step back and go, okay, I am now being forced into another decision I need to make. How is it going to better me and the people that are dependent on me?
Look, and I think I hear you. But at the same time, in that type of situation, if I'm a child who's 16, I don't have a choice. I try my best, but I don't really have a choice in that moment. And I think what's important is to understand where you are. Make the best of your situation. If you're being forced and there's no way, you can't afford it to go work or whatever it is and pay for your own studies, you know what? maybe you need to then go on that, but then change degrees because you've worked for a year. You know, understanding the best way possible, looking at it, because I know a lot of people that studied, they were in a degree for about a year and a half. They knew they never wanted to go into it, but they were forced into it.
Yeah.
So what they did is they worked while they studied, and they made money so that they could pay for a degree that they wanted to do. And that's something that's important that I think people don't look at. They go, I'm forced, I can't do anything. You can always do something. Unless you are completely restrained by whoever it is that's forcing you, you cannot be forced to be around them 24/7. When they give you that time, go do something with your time. Go and make your life and your decision that you want to make. I know it's not easy, but that's what you have to do. You know what I mean? So like I work to pay off some of my varsity at a stage because I needed to. I worked as a bartender. I worked until 5 a.m. before school, and then I'll go to varsity and carry on. I didn't make that much until the World Cup final, but I did something that I wanted to do. I worked at a call center. I did a whole bunch of different jobs to try and make money because I wanted to pay for stuff. Now, if I wanted to change degrees, that would have had to have been a lot more, but still, it's possible. We have to look at things and do what we can, because it's impossible to say to your parents, no, because then you are homeless.
Yeah, and you know,
Because that happened to my friend.
yeah, and this, the scary reality of it is that, you would, as Pumzo commented there, we're talking about parents. Parents, blackmailing their own children. At the end of the day, they have made a poor decision. And let me finish. And I'll say this as a parent. They have made a poor decision by blackmailing them. There might be better ways where they are trying to maybe the reason for them blackmailing can be great. It can be good because they maybe see a betterment, or say they've got an idea of going, I want you to do this, or I can see this happening. But their means of getting you to sort of change or alter your direction or your decision, they've gone and done this. But by blackmailing, that's not a healthy way to deal with any sort of decision in a household.
Correct.
And
I'm not disagreeing.
yeah, it's such a tough one, because at the end of the day, you are, as a person, when we feel we're being blackmailed, we feel we're put in a corner.
And then you want to fight.
And generally, blackmail only comes from someone that has relevance or importance in your life. Because if someone tried to blackmail me that I have no care of, I'm going to go like, well, I don't care. Do what you have to do. Yeah, go for gold. But it generally, blackmail comes from someone that is within your circle, within your trust circle, of going, okay, and they know that this would affect you.
So that is if it's intentional.
Yeah.
I think, like what Pum's are saying, like she's saying, as a black person, this happens. That means that it's a generational thing. This has always happened. It happened to them, so it's happening to the next. And oftentimes, if you are brought up in a certain way and you understand things, right? So if I've always been told that I have to give Rudy 10% of what I make every month, okay? When I have a kid, guess what I'm going to tell my kid?
The expectation has been set.
I'm going to tell my kid, you're going to give me 10% of everything you make every month. And that's not because I want to be rude, I want to blackmail, I want to whatever. This is what I believe is the right thing.
Yeah,
I am in my
it's an
structure,
expectation.
in my structure of like my hierarchy. I'm going, this is what is meant to be done. This is the correct way of doing things.
So there's actually a flaw in
There's a flaw in the understanding of what's important.
It's a fundamental flaw.
No, it is. It's fundamental, and it's been brought on from generation to generation. And unfortunately, you're not going to change that person. You're not going to change someone, but you can change the next person. You can be different when it's your turn.
Yeah.
And it's often like, so I remember the biggest thing at school was lashes.
Yes.
Right? So lashes, for anyone who doesn't know, it's when they matrix or someone older will hit a guy with cricket bat, whatever they can find that they can hold, they'll hit them on the butt. Okay? I was super against it. Very much so. I never believed it was worth it. Like, why is another 18-year-old hitting a 14-year-old? I don't care. Okay? But I went through it and I accepted it. I got to matric. I never touched anyone. Ever. Not once. Right? So for me, and the people doing it before, a lot of them were not doing it because they were like, I went to school to go and beat children. They went to school, they learned this tradition per se, and then they carry forward the tradition because it's the right thing to do. It is the correct way of doing it. And what happens is, you've got to be the person to decide, I'm not doing it that way. I see that it is incorrect. I did not enjoy it, and it is not the right thing for me to do. And that's where the change comes in. I could never change the older people. I couldn't even change my friends' opinions who had decided that's the right thing to do. The moment someone has that ingrained, especially when it comes to tradition, culture, and stuff like that, you cannot change it.
Yeah.
You need to be the
And
person
I
to
think-
make a change. And then after you, the people afterwards would change too, because they see your thing as the culture, tradition, the whatever.
And I think it also, like you said, it becomes so ingrained within the family or within the lifestyle, like it is. I mean, let's say it can be something. It can be looked at in a positive way. A traditional thing, like in our household, you will go on certain days, on certain holidays. This is what is cooked. This is what is done. This is who celebrated with you. This is what you don't eat. This is what you do eat. This is when you pray. So you go. That's now ingrained in my
Yes. So if
literal being.
I tell you that's wrong,
Correct.
you're never going to change
No,
that.
I'm not gonna
It's
change
not going
it.
to happen. And that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So you are right there.
It's not going to change it. That's an ingrained thing. It's
And like you said, which I think was extremely cool, is saying that you might not agree with it, but because you know where it comes from, you'll go with it, but you'll make sure it doesn't affect your next generation.
Yeah.
And that's all we can do. I mean, and again, that's a decision you've made, and saying, this is how I would like to lead my family going forward.
in the future.
In the future.
Exactly. And that's the thing. And I think that's the biggest takeaway here is you can't be tunnel visioned when it comes to life and life's decisions. You need to have the ability to look everywhere. You need to have your head on a swivel, right? Yeah.
I agree with Pumza there. If you're following, so there's a great conversation happening between Pumza and Raven here. Pumza basically, so I'll give you a bit of insight on Raven after this, so you can also understand where he comes from. But it's really cool that there's conversation, and this is what we want.
Yeah, we
This is
want
what
people to have dialogue.
Dialogue on the podcast. I mean, you don't even have to be speaking to us. It's good that there's people finding.
You could be
relevance in
using
someone
us as background noise. It's okay.
Yeah.
We accept it.
And I think it's a great place to end off here. Is exactly what you said. We might not always be able to affect a generational thing that has happened to us from so many years ago, and it's just been planted down, seen as entitlement. We see it as blackmail. We see it as pressures. What we can do is make that life-changing decision to say, I'm going to change the future, which is exactly what we're doing here. In this very podcast, we're trying to change the future. We're trying to make it a safer, happier place for the men to say, you're safe to make decisions.
Yeah.
You're safe to be vulnerable. You're safe to show emotion. You're safe to make a wrong decision.
Yeah, make mistakes,
But
man.
at the end of the day, let's make a decision that is caring, has that character, has that positive outlook, that non-tunnel vision, like you said, and obviously, make it better for literally as many people as
You
possible.
know what? Like you said, it's not the wrong decision. It's a mistake. A mistake you are allowed to make because a mistake is done with good intention. That is why there's a mistake. Right? So you are allowed to make mistakes. You will make mistakes. But mistakes don't lead to you failing.
Yeah, I think
Mistakes, you learn more from mistakes than you do from winning, from making the right decision. If you ever want to know how to become successful, ask the guy who just didn't make it. Don't ask the guy who made it. He doesn't know.
there was that statistic that comes from, it was like Michael Jordan, obviously arguably the best basketball player in the world. And he said, I've been graded on how many shots I've got and and how many points and trophies and all the things I've got. But if you went on how many shots I missed to my shots that I actually got in,
And there's more missed by
I'm more of a failure in that. I failed more than I've succeeded.
But he failed to succeed.
Exactly.
That is why he succeeded.
And that's the thing. So let's
Get 5-0 to get 100 in the final, boy.
I think let's take that. Let's take and learn from that as people and say, what, we're gonna fail. We're gonna make mistakes.
And we're going to learn. We're going to win and we're going to learn.
And the decision we make, we're going to have a backup plan to say, okay, this is what or not a backup plan, a plan to say, I've made this decision based on these factors, based on that pyramid, that hierarchy, and it is for the betterment of where I am. I'm not letting entitlement, blackmail, or any of those things alter where I'm going. And if it does, I will ensure that the decision I make will not, these sort of factors
You're going to make a
outside,
difference to the next person.
the next generation will not feel the pressures that I feel. Guys, thank you so much to our sponsors that are behind us. Thank you so much. Guys, Like, share, subscribe. Please join in to the live chats when we do have them. I'm sure a lot of you have seen that we've become incentivized on our YouTube channel. Please click on that little join logo. By you doing that, it helps us grow. It allows us to do things like this.
It's like a 2 rand for Rudy.
My 2 rent. But please, guys, we really appreciate you, and we really appreciate all the chats that come in, the comments, and we just want to let you guys know that we love you. If you're going through those tough times in life, pop us a private message, pop us an email. We'd be glad to sort of just be an ear to listen. We'd be glad to offer some sort of advice if we can. But at the end of the day, we love and we care for all of you. Thank you to the viewers, and thank you to Tristonius Merarius, the fifth of his name.
Rudy, that was poetic and cheesy.
It was not cheesy.
No, don't shout
It
at
was
me.
caring.
Have you noticed how I am talking really slowly in order to say
Oh, here
thank
we
you
go,
so much
David
for
Attenborough,
everything that you
sir.
do? And Rudy, we love you, man. We got you. You're going to make them right decisions. And yeah, thanks again, guys.
Decision. It didn't come out very well today.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Decision.